Anyway, let's hear what Ben Shapipi had to say about the Queen.
Historic figure in the West passes away, it seems like it's a chance for a lot of people to dance on that person's grave.
I mean, dude, it's the Queen, dog. Why do you care?
Not particularly because they hate that person, but because they don't like the West very much. That is the only.
Oh, it's because of anti-Western hate. So funny that like neoliberals who thought that they were, so much more woke than anyone else, have unironically resorted in so many different instances the same exact fucking commentary as Ben Shapiro.
Reason I can cite for why there are so many people on blue checked Twitter, so many big thinkers out there who are using Queen Elizabeth II's death as an opportunity to talk about the evils of the British Empire, to talk about the evils of England, to talk about the evils of Western civilization. The reality is that when a historic figure like Elizabeth II passes away, it reminds us all that there are some pretty stellar things about Western civilization. It reminds us that...
Again, that's why they're defending it, because it's a defense. It's a defense of all the good things. Colonialism, colonization was good. That's what they keep saying. It's so much more than just like some fucking random old broad dying, okay? This is about defending white supremacy, folks. Make no mistake.
The link in the chain that we represent in history, are we going to pass on important eternal values to our children? Or are we going to let those things fade away? Are we going to let those things be ripped apart by forces that don't like the things that make the West unique? The thing that made Elizabeth II a unique figure in world history is not only her tenure. I mean, she presided over the British Empire for 70 years in symbolic fashion, right? Because that was her job. She didn't actually have political power. She was a person who was expected to be a symbol of British unity.
Yes, she did. She did have political power. That's not true. She did have political power. You also said British Empire without skipping a beat. What's wrong with you? Have you no decency, man? What the fuck?
Which meant really a symbol of Western civilization. The fact that she presided over the dissolution of the British Empire, the fact that she presided over all of these radical changes that happened in British society, but always held fast to certain principles, both religious and secular, that characterized British society. Her death is going to leave a lasting imprint on Britain, because now we've moved into a new era in the West in which you are not expected to perform your duty, in which you are not expected to represent, say, Judeo-Christian values to your nation, in which the symbolism of having a person who unites the realm, that sort of thing is seen as passé. Instead, we are just an agglomeration of various folks who have been sort of thrust together by the vicissitudes of history. Queen Elizabeth II represented a rebuttal to that. That's what her life was about. Her life was about assuming the crown at the grand old age of 25 when her father passed away prematurely. She already had several children at the time, and she stepped up, and her life was really about duty. In 1947, when she was 21, she made a public radio statement dedicating herself to the realm. This is in her birthday address.
Dude, what the fuck? Why are they talking like this is a serious job? I'm losing my fucking mind. Like, why are they talking like this is service? Like they were doing the honorable thing. Bro, you literally sound like a peasant. My lord, me queen, she stepped up to the mantle to do the honorable thing, to take over the realm and and protect us common folk, protect us commoners from the outside dastardly forces, my lord. What is happening? Like, I don't understand. Am I crazy? Like, I need some feedback from the chat here. I need to understand. Is there someone in the chat that understands where the fuck this is coming from? Like, so many conservative Americans are just popping off being like, "Big Queen, she was great. She led the way. She paved it. She created it. So she did such honorable work." Do you upload the video where Dick rides the monarchy yet? No, this is it.
at the age of 21. I'd like you to imagine a 21-year-old today in any Western country making this sort of move. 21-year-olds.
What do you mean? Dude, literally every 21-year-old. If you ask them, do you want to be king or queen tomorrow? It's probably going to be like, sure, why not? The fuck kind of take is this? Like what? There are entire movies dedicated to this sort of thing, like Princess Bride. I can't wait for Jordan Peterson's video.
In America today, to take an example, are some of the most immature human beings who have ever walked the planet. They're not even expected to be as mature as, in many cases, 15 or 16-year-olds, 21-year-olds. This is when you are supposed to be living out your truth. You're not supposed to be assuming duty. It's a reminder of a time in Western civilization when 21-year-olds were expected to actually be adults, to watch then Princess Elizabeth dedicating herself and her life to the English people.
I can make my solemn act of dedication with a whole empire listening. I should like to make that dedication
Princess Bride is good. You meant Princess Diaries? Maybe. I don't fucking know what I'm saying.
now. It is very simple. I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong. But I shall not have strength to carry out this resolution alone, unless you join in it with me, as I now invite you to do. I know that your support will be unfailingly given. God help me to make good my vow, and God bless all of you who are willing to share in it.
This is in the immediate aftermath of World War II, obviously. It also happened to be in the quasi-immediate aftermath of the complete abdication of the crown by the older brother of her father, right? Her father was the younger son of King George V. His older brother, the Queen's uncle, was actually supposed to be the king, but you recall your British history. In 1936, Edward abdicated to marry a divorcee who happened to be kind of a Nazi sympathizer named Wallace Simpson. His
bit of a Nazi sympathizer. Like he's such a royalist that he's like jumping over the point. Oh my God, you are such a cuck, dude. You're so funny. What an absolute cuck, dude. A bit of a Nazi sympathizer. Just a bit.
abdication after less than a year, according to the UK Sun, elevated Prince Albert to King George VI. 10-year-old Elizabeth was now heir to the throne. So she was only 21 years old when she made this statement. This was after, by the way, during World War II, she actually drove ambulances on behalf of the British military. There's a pretty funny story much later in her life. Apparently, a Saudi king visited Great Britain, and she arrived in, he got in a car to be driven around, and she was behind the wheel. And she was making a statement that women can drive, because in Saudi Arabia, women were not and still are not allowed.
Wait, hold up. You're not going to fucking shit on another theocratic monarchy on a video while you're defending the other monarchy, right? What? No way. That's so crazy. I mean, the through line is pretty apparent. You know what I mean? On the one hand, he's talking about, on the one hand, this is just like Tucker Carlson saying, it's really, Africa needed, colonizers to be civilized, but now they have the bad colonizers, the Chinese. It's the exact same energy. I mean, they're not even trying that hard. They're just like, okay.
To drive. And she then proceeded to take him on apparently an extremely exciting car tour where she was driving at high rates of speed just to freak out the Saudi monarch and demonstrate that women actually were capable of driving. She was coronated in 1953 in Westminster Abbey. It was obviously a historic moment because she would then proceed to guide the realm, at least in symbolic fashion, all the way from 1953 to 2022, which makes her the longest serving British monarch in the history of the empire. So here was a little bit of the coronation. You see the film. For those who can't see, that there's that crown. That crown weighs just an enormous amount, being placed on her head. According to the UK Sun, the Queen spent her first 10 years in charge overhauling the stuffy, unapproachable image of the royals that Brits were used to, transforming them into a more modern and relatable family. She also had to deal with the fact that her sister, Margaret, was a rather difficult person. She televised her annual Christmas broadcast for the first time in 1957. That is an annual tradition that is now watched by millions.
That's so cool. It was so cool. You know, the crown is so heavy from all the kindly given, magnanimously and kindly given crown jewels. They just gave it to him. They were like, hey, we love that. Please have these diamonds. We love that. Please. We donated it to you.
Of people. And she obviously became an incredibly popular monarch. She was very sympathetic. She got married in 1947, the same year that she made that address talking about how she was dedicating herself to the realm. And there's all sorts of wonderful film of her, the Silver Jubilee in 1977.
She married, Ben. What was the familial relationship? Oh, yeah, that's right. She married her fucking distant cousin. However, given how much the royals inbred with one another, not so distant after all.
In which she gave a bit of a speech to the British people.
In the same golden fairy tale coach that carried her to the coronation in June 1953, Her Majesty and Prince Philip, to the thunderous cheers of hundreds of thousands of her subjects lining the room. She goes on a walkabout among her people. The simple but heartfelt.
If you fast forward all the way to 1991, Elizabeth was really the glue that held the royal family together, because obviously her kids were very, very difficult. Prince Charles, who is now King Charles III, he obviously had an extraordinarily fraught relationship with Princess Diana and with...
Bro, he is like a stan. He's saying Prince Charles had a shitty relationship with Princess Diana. Yo. He's such a nerd, dude. He loves this shit.
With the new queen consort, Camilla. He had been in love with Camilla. Camilla was now married to a different man. He ended up marrying Princess Diana when he was 31. And Diana, I believe, was 19 years old. And then they had just a very difficult relationship. Diana was apparently cheating on him. He was cheating on her. It was a complete mess. Princess Diana went into the public eye with the problems in her marriage, which was considered really not what royals do. Again, if you're a person like Elizabeth II and you're defined by your duty to your country, the idea of spilling all of your dirty marital secrets, which actually have national implications in public to people like Martin Bashir, is something that you are not very much in favor of. Again, she was an emissary.
Problematic age gap.
From a time when people were expected to keep their marital problems in-house rather than blasting those out on the front pages of the Daily Mail. In any case, in 1991, here was Queen Elizabeth II speaking before Congress.
I know what a rare privilege it is to address a joint meeting of your two houses. Thank you for inviting me. The concept, so simply described by Abraham Lincoln as government by the people, of the people, for the people, is fundamental to our two nations. Your Congress and our Parliament.
You're making fun of him, but if you watch American Kardashians, how is it any better, really? Wait, what? But I don't do that either. What the fuck are you talking about? Why did you just, compare me doing an imagined thing to what Ben's doing in front of your eyes? What? Also, nobody's like, the Kardashians should fucking have royal powers. Like, bro, Kim Kardashian can't fucking veto bills, okay? and we make fun of them all the time.
Are the twin pillars.
And as shitty as they are, they didn't go to South Yemen and go, hey, you should stay colonized, actually. Or oversaw, once again, the torture of Kenyans and shit. Put down communist revolutions all around the world. and then whitewash that shit. I don't even know if did the Kardashians actually defend a pedophile? Did they spend $10 million of the American government's taxpayer funded? The Kardashians never, to my knowledge at least, took $10 million of taxpayer funds and like defend a pedophile, right?
Of our
Like any other person that does this shit, any other person that does the shit that the queen does, you'd be like, that's insane. Come on, stop. Why are you defending this person? But because she's the queen, you're like, well, no, she's supposed to do that. I do declare. This is what is supposed to happen.
civilizations, and the chief among the many treasures that we have inherited from our predecessors.
Okay, so that right there, by the way, we should just keep that in mind, what she says right there, because that is the reason why so many people are deeply upset about, the reaction to to Queen Elizabeth II's death. There are a bunch of people on the left who hate Queen Elizabeth because of that. Because of the idea that there's an Anglo-American tradition of parliamentary rule and democracy, and these things are bad.
Famously, Anglo-American tradition of parliamentary democracy, which the left hates. Yeah. Like, so many parts of that sentiment, I don't even know where to begin. It's insane. When did the parliamentary democracy become the Anglo-American tradition? What is the Anglo-American tradition? The only Anglo-American tradition is like white supremacy, dog. What the fuck do you mean? We didn't even inherit the fucking NHS. We didn't follow through on a lot of the shit that they did that was like at least decent. You know what I mean? The fuck do you mean? We don't even call football. We call it soccer. And also, you're referencing the Queen while talking about parliamentary democracy. Where? What is your brain on? What are you doing?
We're going to get to the left's reaction to her death because it really is quite astonishing that this historic human being dies. And the first reaction of a lot of people is, well, the British Empire was bad, and colonialism was bad, and democracy and free trade apparently were bad. Like, these things, historically speaking, came as a package. That does not dim the evils of colonialism. It does not mean that imperialism is a good thing. But as we'll discuss in just a second, trying to pretend that the legacy of the British Empire or of Queen Elizabeth II is somehow an evil, just overall it's bad and evil, because I guess Western civilization is bad, that is a fool's errand. As we were talking about with regards to sort of the internal family struggles in 19...
Yeah, the left hates parliamentary democracy, which is why they're making fun of the Queen's death. Of course, as you know, a fundamental role in the parliamentary system is having a fucking queen. No other country could have a parliament without a queen. You know what I mean? It's just, that's why the left hates the parliamentary system? What? Which was also invented in England? Like, no country before that had one, actually. What the fuck is he saying?
1992, that was the big year, right? So the year after this address to Congress, that is when the marriage between...
Isn't reacting to the Ben Shapiro like the lowest effort content you can do? I mean, fucking your mom would be the lowest effort content because, she comes over willingly and is here waiting every night. What? Dude, we're on Twitch, man. We're on Twitch, my man. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv. It's like, what do you want me to do? I watch MasterChef. You're like, that's low effort content. What am I supposed to do? Not address some of the most insane ramblings of like one of the most popular fucking Republican commentators? What? All right, sorry. I should be rewriting the Constitution every day. That's the high effort content that I need from my Twitch streamer, Political Andy. Or, sorry, play fucking, video games, which is high effort.
Queen Diana and Prince Charles started to break up. That is the same time that there's a biography on Diana that talked about how Diana had sort of been abandoned by the royal family. Now, the truth is that Diana was, again, not a super easy person. She came into the royal family under kind of dim circumstances, given the fact that Charles had originally dated her older sister. She had come in, she was considered the people's princess, but then she also, was not a particularly stable figure. In any case, when
He's like anti-Diana, and I kind of like this. This is making him more human. Like, I mean, it's the worst possible position you could take on the monarchy, obviously, which is expected. But I do kind of love how into it he is. Like, he's like an actual stan. You know his ass watched The Crown. But it's more than that. Like, he's been a monarchy stan for a minute, it seems like. Stop. Stop. Stop doing this. Stop.
Princess Diana was killed in the car crash in 1997, that sort of historic moment, there was a lot of anger at the
During the 1980s, the Queen tried to stop Princess Diana's work in HIV advocacy, telling her to do something more pleasant, but Diana ignored her, instead using her platform to tackle stigma and offer comfort to terrified people sick with what was then a terminal illness. Oh. Ben Shapiro's like, I don't think the Queen actually ended up executing Diana, but it would be cool if she did, because she deserved it.
the royal family.
She should have thought twice about all the things she had to say about the royal family and frolicking about cheating on someone with royal lineage.
Because it seemed like they weren't in proper levels of mourning. She was already divorced from Prince Charles by this time, of course. And the Queen had to make a public statement about the death of Princess Diana. Here's a little bit of that.
Since last Sunday's dreadful news, we have seen throughout Britain and around the world an overwhelming expression of sadness at Diana's death. So what I say to you now, as your Queen and as a grandmother, I say from my heart. First, I want to pay tribute to Diana myself. She was an exceptional and gifted human being. In good times and bad, she never lost her capacity to smile.
You guys want to know something crazy? Did you know that part of the reason why, of course, like they famously considered Princess Diana to be bad was because she didn't have enough she didn't come from a high enough family. Like her familial lineage was not royal enough. And like she presented herself as like one with the commoners and whatnot, right? And I didn't even learn about her actual background until like a year ago or something. Bro, she was still insanely rich. Like she literally was going to the same schools and shit. You know what I mean? Like they just thought that she was not lordly enough. That's it. Like she was already a fucking noble and shit. She just wasn't high enough in nobility. How crazy is that? They were like, yeah, sorry. Your chin doesn't look fucked up. Doesn't seem like your parents were fucking related to one another. Not good enough. Third cousin is as far as we'll go. Fourth cousin? If you're a fourth cousin, not on my watch.
Smile and laugh, nor to inspire others with her warmth and kindness. I admired and respected her for her energy.
How could you marry a peasant who grew up like this? You can visit the late Princess Diana's childhood home in England this summer. I mean, dude, when you see this, you're like, oh, what the fuck, right? Because like the way that they presented Diana as like the people's princess. I can't believe I bought Princess Diana's childhood home, by the way, in Los Angeles. Because this is exactly what my house looks like. Broke girl shit, not even that big. X-Men Academy looking ass. White boys saying they're from the hood. Her father was a Spencer, the 8th Earl Spencer, so already nobility.
And commitment to others. I hope
Okay,
that
so again, this is
tomorrow
sort of Elizabeth II's role, is that whenever there was a problem, it was her job to sort of patch everything back together. She famously in 2011 visited Ireland. The Ireland Independent today has a good piece about this. It says, she will long be remembered for wowing the entire Irish nation with a simple head bow at the Garden of Remembrance in May 2011 to heroes who died fighting her country's army. That moment of symbolism was enhanced by some superbly well-chosen words later at Dublin Castle. And then, of course, she gave a speech in the middle of COVID that was, I think, really comforting to a huge number of people.
Oh my God, he is a stan. That's how you know he's a stan. Because, like, he's even praising her speech during COVID and shit. Oh my God. Like, normally he'd be like, if it's someone that Ben Shapiro doesn't like and they give a COVID speech, he would literally just be like, from her ivory tower, the queen decided to come out and speak to us commoners by addressing via a Zoom meeting, sitting in front of a golden throne. I mean, the symbolism of this, the symbolism of this woke moralism is too ridiculous not to laugh at. You know what I mean? Like, the fuck? Like, she's literally sitting on a golden throne being like, oh, COVID is devastating. Meanwhile, she's firing everyone that works inside of the castles that she owns. But when it's someone that he likes, he's just like, oh, brilliant, brilliant. She was so comforting during COVID. Oh, those times were so devastating.
Across the world, not just in Great Britain, in the middle of a time of global turmoil, here was the Queen of England talking about COVID and its impact on her country.
This is so funny, bro. What the fuck? How is the Queen's take any different than like the Imagine song that everyone in Hollywood made?
I'm speaking to you at what I know is an...
Like, yeah, look at this. Look, wearing all of her jewels at a time when people are suffering because they can't get back to work because they desperately want to, but they can't because of woke moralists. And the Queen is sitting in front of a gold-plated drawer, possibly stolen from some other faraway country, telling you, the commoner, that you should stay indoors and fear not. That we're all in this together. Saying we're all in this together from her chateau. Absolutely unacceptable.
Increasingly challenging time. A time of disruption in the life of our country. A disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all. I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. And those who come after us will say the Britons of this generation were as strong as any, that the attributes of self-discipline, of quiet, good-humored resolve, and of fellow feeling still characterize this country. The pride in who we are is not a part of our past. It defines our present and our future. We should take comfort.
Okay, so I mean,
But
it was,
while
it was those sorts of values that she represented, right? This sort of quiet, solid belief in eternal values over the course of time. The sort of British stiff upper lip, the idea that you can take on challenges.
Oh my God. He loves her, bro. This is funny. This is kind of cute. This is kind of cute. It's a weird, in a very weird way, it's kind of cute seeing Ben like go this crazy. What's up, brother? I'm watching Ben Shapiro go absolutely bananas over the Queen. What? Okay, I'm glad you don't have a microphone on you.
Right? All those things are what she symbolized. Now, the backlash to her death materialized immediately. I mean, not people who were anti-her dying, people who were very pro-her dying, as it turns out, which is just insane. I'm sorry, that is an extraordinary response to the death of a woman who literally had a symbolic role, and that symbolic role involved things like telling people to buck up under pressure, to understand their heritage, to believe in the values of democracy. So it came in a couple forms. One was okay, well, she's a queen, who cares? Whatever. You know, we're American. We fought the crown just so we wouldn't have to care about stuff like this. Okay, I get it.
Wow, 13 minutes in, he finally says something I agree with. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's like one of the few good things that America did, okay? America did a lot of fucked up things in its founding, but the one good thing was this. Jesus Christ, man.
Reality is that the monarchy of Britain right now is not anything remotely resembling the monarchy of Britain in the time of King George III. She had no political power. And this is something people ought to remind themselves, is that when they're yelling at Queen Elizabeth II, they're yelling at a person whose role is entirely symbolic. She had no political power in Britain.
Oh my God, if we accept Queen Elizabeth as our monarch, will these two go away? Dude. Yeah, he had a voice crack. That's how much he rides for the fucking queen, dog. I mean, he shit on Princess Di.
The United States fought King George III and Parliament in order to be free of the political power of King George III. But the truth is that apparently people have a need for royalty. In the United States, we've supplanted the idea of a symbolic leader who's like Queen Elizabeth II. We've supplanted that with a celebrity culture that is filled with babbling idiots who repeat whatever lines are put in front of them and apparently take their cultural cues and political cues.
Oh my God, he's giving the game away. He's giving the game away. He's literally saying we all need like royals to lord above ourselves because we have peasant brain. And if that is like if that's a universal truth, if that's like a natural phenomena, then I would rather have them be proper. That's crazy. Also, Donald Trump was the president. Like, he was your president, Ben. You defended him for 4 fucking years. What the fuck?
Cues from other...
Dude, every libertarian... I used to say, like, a lot of libertarians are just straight up fascists who want to smoke weed. And, you know, the Donald Trump presidency kind of showed that because they all were super on board with, like, one of the key tenets of libertarian principles is that the freedom of travel, right? And not having like this surveillance state, police state. And they completely dropped that. They were like, Trump is so great. But now I'm beginning to realize like, no, they unironically would love a monarch. They're yelling at me. They're like, look at Fiona, pet her.
Television writers. And those are our royalty. Over here, our royalty is like Kim Kardashian and Jennifer Lawrence. I know.
Oh my God, Jennifer